Okay, so Gold in the Cold, part three. And just to recap, we're looking at this article on PubMed from the Journal of Circumpolar Health, and it's looking at the health effects of voluntary exposure to cold water, a continuing subject of debate. If you haven't seen the first two posts, then yeah, go back in my timeline to catch you up. So we've got to the section where the review starts summarizing the physiological responses to cold, so how our bodies react in cold water. So just stating the obvious, well, maybe it's not obvious to some people, but it's a deeply physiological challenge to the body organ systems. It's a lethal environment. And it starts looking at the kind of the big changes that happen. It puts the body into a state of high stress in the sense that there's a lot of rerouting of processes to protect the brain and the core organs. And it can do this by the way that we generate heat and various heat loss mechanisms. So this diagram here is kind of summarizing that pretty well. So cutaneous vasoconstriction, and that's an amazing medical term, but basically within our skin, the blood vessels dilate, they get smaller, and this creates a pressure which forces the blood back to the core. So basically, the extremities of your body they get very restricted in terms of blood flow, and it maintains warm blood for your brain and your core. Now, for the untrained person, and anybody actually, if you're in long enough, you will start shivering. So this is a body reflex that generates heat. So movement generates heat. So the shivering reflex generates heat. If you do shiver when you first go into the cold water, in my practice, that suggests to me that you're not ready. You shouldn't be in the water at that point, because what I seek to experience in my practice is this next physiological reaction here, which is the non-shivering thermogenesis. Now, this is the brown fat tissue, which not a lot of people know about. But basically, this is it's not like the white fat on our bodies. And I believe it's only really found in the upper chest cavity. And the body can burn this tissue to create heat. And this is considered to be the holy grail of cold water therapy, because this is a very healthy body process. And this is one of the body processes that we're looking to cultivate when we're doing daily cold plunging. And again, the final response that's looking at is the cardiopulmonary response. So, the blood pressure, your heart, that kind of thing. And again, in my practice, I am looking to reduce these responses. Can't eliminate them unless you're got some kind of genetic adaptation that I certainly don't have. But when we're looking to not have a severe cold shock response, for some people, the chemistry that will unleash the stress chemicals that the cold shock releases is very pleasant to them, or just fits really well with them. It works for them. Not at all the case for me. Quite the opposite. I'm looking for a very calm, controlled, as best I can, experience of the cold. So yeah, so we'll leave it there for this one, and then we'll come back and we'll go through the really detailed descriptions below on the physiological responses. Cheers.